Hey, look what came in. It's the ink waste tank. Guess who's behind this box? Shannon.
Hey.
Let's dive into this review and install. I'm going to show you how to install it. Okay, so here's the box. I'll leave a link down in the description as to where you can find this. Got ourselves a bunch of peanuts. Here is the little tube. Seems pretty basic. Looks like it came with the little Velcro here. This is where the tube will go inside the kit. Looks like we got a tube and a priming syringe. Here's the little packing slip and how much we paid for it. $26.90 with shipping. Let's see what's inside the little plastic bag here. You have to excuse the noise, the kids are here. And then we have some instructions. Alright, well, let's see how easy these are to follow and install this thing. Alright guys, so I'm opening up the top, just opening up the paper feed tray, and then there's this little tab right here. All you have to do is squeeze this thing. I'm gonna have to squeeze the crap out of it, pull it off. It will just come off. You don't really need any tools, just a little bit of a brute force. If you're good at opening pickle jars, you'll get this off. Just kind of showed some of the tabs there for a second. If you need to go back and take a look at that. There's 3 screws in the back. One of the screws is silver, and that will go into the sheet metal of the back of this printer. The other 2 are black, and so just kind of keep that in mind, because that center one does need to go in the center to go back into the sheet metal. You'll see as soon as I get this off just what I'm talking about. And this is the most entertaining part, taking these screws out, right? I probably could have sped this up, but whatever. So I do recommend you not turning your printer on the side. You don't want ink spilling out of your waste pads. It takes just a little bit of prying. And there you go. You can see the center part does go into, that little silver screw goes into that metal part. So here I just kind of have like a little bit of a pick tool, pulling these tabs up. Once I got one of the tabs up, I was kind of able to force my shaky hands to get this thing off in the front. Those little tabs, and then the whole side comes off. And I'm just kind of trying to show you guys some of these tabs here, and hopefully this helps out. It might not, you know, I mean, it's a little self-explanatory, but I thought it might help a little bit. It probably might, I don't know. And here is where the actual waste tube goes. So this goes from your head to your waste pads, and we are removing this. What I'm doing, there's this little clamp that you just have to squeeze and just kind of pull back off of the clamp. This kind of just prevents things from leaking. And thank you, Scarlett, little kiddo, my little baby girl. So I move that clamp back a little bit, and then here's the tube that comes with the kit. You do have to squeeze it in there. I don't know, you might be able to use some sort of lubricant or something, but I don't recommend it. You can just squeeze it in there. You don't want any of that stuff inside of your ink that you're about to reuse, and that's kind of the purpose of this waste tank. I could have taken that little tab off, but I just left it on there for the sake of, just in case I wanted to revert it back to original. But I mean, we're about to drill a hole in this thing, so I'm routing this thing through the back towards the back panel, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys how this works. I mean, the instructions were pretty clear, but I'm a visual learner, so I hope this helps you guys out. Can't talk today. I can't ever talk. English is my first language. I can't talk. However, here we go. So I'm just kind of mocking things up, putting the back panel on. If you're a little handy with some tools, I just took some masking tape and a magic marker to kind of mark off where I would like this thing to go. I mean, this isn't too big of a task, but you will need a few tools. You will definitely need to drill a hole in the side. So I'm using a little bit of a step drill. They're pretty inexpensive. I'll leave a link down below where you can find one of these things. And then I'm just kind of cleaning up the residue or the shavings from drilling this thing. And then now I'm just inserting the tube through that hole, and everything looks hunky-dory. Before I place that part on, we're doing it in reverse order. We have to put the side panel on before we can put that back panel on, because they do kind of interlock. Making sure those tabs are good to go. And then I'm just kind of showing you where those tabs kind of really lock in with that back panel, which is why it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get off. So putting the tube through the hole and then putting this thing back in, just kind of showing you some of these tabs. There's a tab in the top right corner of that part that has to tuck underneath, and then same thing over to the right hand side that has to tuck under as well before you can kind of start locking things in. And then the screws go back in. You definitely want to make sure that silver one goes in the center, because that goes into some sheet metal. And then last but not least, we're just kind of like really hooking up the waste tank. You know, the star of the show. Just took that backing off. It's a little bit of a 3M Velcro kind of deal, making sure that the tube's in there nicely, and it just kind of sits on the side onto the table. And so one of the things about this is this waste ink. You'll see here in a second. There we go. One part to 3 parts black new ink, and you can see that the thing easily comes off. So what's going on here is I'm just kind of demonstrating what this syringe is for. It's kind of refilling your CIS tanks and all that fun stuff. And you can see right here, I'll leave a card up to the right where you guys, I do have a video on how to do that. And now we are at the point where I'm just doing a cleaning cycle, like a regular cleaning cycle. And this is where you're saving the money, because if you're spending $100 in cartridges, I mean, look at all the ink from one cleaning cycle. I mean, you could easily waste $100 worth of ink just trying to clean your heads. And I have a head cleaning video, which I'll leave up to the right hand side. I'll leave a little card. And this is really going to help you guys out. It's saved me thousands of dollars. Here we are a year later, and this waste tank has actually been working pretty well. There it is over to the side of the printer here. It's kind of out of the way. It's almost time to empty it again and then mix some more ink into it, and then I'll toss it back in with the CIS kit. And this has saved a lot of money, and it's been great. It's fairly inexpensive, 65 bucks. Generally, I would spend $100 per refill cartridges for what's the refill cartridge that I get, the all black system. I believe it's from Freehand Graphics, same people that do Separation Studio and all that, and it's worked really well. So I would definitely give this one a thumbs up and say approved. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope this video is helpful. I hope it will save you some money. For those of you that do have a 1430, you can get those pretty inexpensive these days. I'll leave a link down to where you can find some of these printers. I actually got this one here for $100. I have another down here that I'm just using as a spare. This did come with software. The reason I have this one down at the bottom is because it did eventually end up the head clogged for one, and also it needs to be reset. The waste tank does come with some software, but you have to have a PC for that. I've got a Macintosh, so I found this one pretty cheap and felt I could use a spare, you know? So I'd grab them up while they're still around. I hope this video is helpful. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that bell, all that great stuff. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.